I'll tell you a little bit about her. She's an international touring artist. She's worked for major labels, but what she does predominantly is play gigs around the world, whether with bands or solo. She records. She's a jazz singer, songwriter, and guitarist. And so that means that she's been running her own business as an entrepreneur, which I think has a lot of information for you guys, no matter what you are wanting to do. And half the time when I call her on the phone, she's in Europe playing someplace, which is awesome, right? I mean, if you like to travel, that's really fun. She also lectures at universities, and she worked with Paul McCartney for quite a while. She's written with a lot of famous people, played with a lot of great people. And so she lives in Nashville, and she's come down on her own to share with us today. So let's welcome Suzahn Fiering.
Hi everyone, how many people here have heard the expression, relying on the kindness of strangers? How many people? Anybody heard that expression? Has anybody here had to rely on the kindness of strangers? A supermarket, a bank, wherever. Raise your hand if some stranger has ever done something kind for you. Okay, good. So I spent my money coming down here because I believe in education. It's kind of my thing. And it cost me a lot of money to do this and to take time out of my day. And I'm a stranger. And so I'm sharing my kindness and my education with you. It's also selfish because I love to do it. So I'm going to ask you, since I'm giving you kindness, if you can give me kindness, and please close your devices. I would really see that as a sign of respect. And anybody who doesn't, if you can give me $10 for gas, it'd be so. Okay, so this is a world music class. And all music is world music, pretty much. But we think of it as mostly African-influenced music, correct? However, there are so many different forms of world music. And my form of world music is jazz. Although I do write country and Americana and rock and roll for film and TV for money. Thank you very much. I do travel the world as a jazz artist. And we all know what jazz is. It's like everything from Louis Armstrong, "What a Wonderful World," to like Miles Davis, that wild, crazy stuff, to what singers do like Ella Fitzgerald or Frank Sinatra, right? There's also another kind of jazz, which I love to lecture about, especially in world music classes. And this form of jazz is called Gypsy Jazz. Who has ever heard of Gypsy Jazz? Raise your hand. Oh, heck yes. Okay.
There's a group that's going to give a final presentation on Gypsy Jazz.
Ooh, you're going to love this. So Gypsy Jazz is part of jazz, but it's different. Who knows where it originated? What country invented Gypsy Jazz?
Romania.
No, that's where our gypsies from.
I guess Romania
What
too.
country made it commercial and viable? Believe it or not, it was France. Yes, the Frenchies. There was a guy named Django Reinhardt. Does that sound familiar? Django Reinhardt was a jazz guitar. Well, he actually was a homeless person. Gypsies originally were stateless people, kind of like the slaves in America. They didn't have any legal rights. But since they were mostly white, they had a little bit more freedom. However, they weren't allowed to live amongst normal Europeans. So they lived in encampments and in warehouses and literally in covered wagons back in the day. So this guy, Django Reinhardt, who became an international jazz sensation in France, lived off the grid in a covered wagon. And he started out playing the banjo, and he and his family would play and busk on the streets and do these like weird little festivals. And then he also used to steal food to eat. He used to go to farms. He got caught stealing chicken at a local farm because they were living off the grid. If they were hungry, they'd find something and take it. This is probably back around 1940, just before the Second World War. war in Europe. So he was in his caravan, and the caravan caught fire. And he ran out and was looking for his wife, and he realized his wife was in the caravan, right? He went in to save her, and he got burns all over his body. These two fingers were welded together. His hands looked like they were ducks. Talk about adversity. So when he was in the hospital, his banjo burned, everything he owned burned. When he was in the hospital, his brother came and gave him an old guitar. And while he was recovering, he started playing the only way he could with his two good fingers and a pinky. And he was playing American jazz in France. But it ended up sounding somehow very different. Why? Because he was a gypsy. And gypsy music was influenced. Who can guess where gypsy music, where people migrated from originally? What's your best guess? Anybody? Gypsy music, think about it. What does it sound like?
Middle East.
Well, most people would say Egypt.
Yes.
But gypsy music started in India. As we migrated as a people, we all come from Africa, y'all. Every one of us comes from Africa. There's DNA to prove it. And as we migrated north, we split off into different directions. And a lot of people went to Eastern Europe. And they were playing the music that was indigenous to them and kind of developed their own style, this Eastern European style. Who said Romania? You said Romania. Romania was part of it. All this Eastern European music kind of melded together to create this unique Eastern sound. In the meantime, here we are back in the 1940s. Slaves have moved up. They're now free, allegedly. They've moved up through America. Some of them have gone to New York, where they meet with Jewish immigrants who are from, wait for it, Eastern Europe. And they're playing this bizarre kind of gypsy sounding, minor, melodic, beautiful stuff. So you combine this African influenced music, blues and jazz from the South, which came from slavery, with these Eastern Europeans in New York, and poof, a whole new world is born. And that world is the jazz we know today. In the meantime, we go back to France, and here's this dude in a hospital with burns all over his body, playing guitar, playing along to this American jazz. WTF. He gets out, he starts playing this weird music. He meets this incredible Italian fiddle player named Suzahn Fiering. Anybody ever hear him? And they start a band called the Hot Club of Paris, because it's fast and it's hot, but it's American jazz. And he takes the world by storm. Then the Nazis enter the picture. Blacks, Jews, some Catholics, gay people, and gypsies, all persecuted. Over 1 million gypsies were murdered in the Holocaust. But somehow Django survives, and here's why. Because even though jazz was illegal during the Second World War, because that's how you control people, you start with culture and art, you take away, you persecute people, you persecute minorities, you take away things from the culture, but Hitler loved jazz. So he let Django and his band, black guys, white guys, he let them live. He would go into where they were living in Paris, pick them up in an unmarked car, blacken out the windows, drive them to a place where he was having a party, let them play. Of course, if they got a little too excited, Hitler would stand up and then calm down. And then they get back into the unmarked car and he'd drop them off back in Paris. 1 million gypsies were killed along with everyone else. People don't know that. They are a persecuted people. So the Second World War ends. Paris and Europe is a mess. All the buildings are bombed out. Millions of people are homeless because of the Second World War. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that had homes are living on the streets. Didn't matter to Django and his band. They were gypsies. They lived in a wagon. So they started going into these places, these burned out villages, and do house parties and street parties and play on corners. So his music became the voice of Reconstruction in Paris. Check it out. So this news, and here's this crazy guy in Paris, this news gets over to the United States, where Louis Armstrong is a superstar, and Duke Ellington, all these African artists that had become superstars, even still during the time of segregation, but they still managed to reach a pinnacle, right? They like go over there, they're like, I gotta check this guy out. This is crazy. They meet with him, they play with him, they can't believe this guy. So they bring him over to the United States, and he begins to tour. And so this whole resurgence in this ethnic music, one group controlling it came up from slavery and persecution. The other group came up from persecution in Eastern Europe. And together, they melded to create this kind of jazz called Gypsy Jazz. So it really has a socio-political background, right? So I'm gonna quickly play you a little bit of a jazz tune, like a regular jazz tune, and then I'm gonna play you a similar tune, gypsy style. And then we're gonna all learn to do what jazz musicians do. It's a surprise. Every one of you is gonna learn how to do something called improvisation. Who's ever heard of that word in music? What does it mean if a musician improvises?
They make something up on the spot.
They make something up on the spot. It's incredible. You learn all this knowledge. Oh my God, I gotta learn, I gotta study, I gotta practice. And then you get there, you play a certain amount of prepared stuff in the song. Then you get up to the plate, you pick up your bat, and you swing, you improvise. And we're all gonna do that today in a few minutes. But first I'm gonna give you a couple of music samples. So to start, I'm gonna play a jazz tune it's not contemporary jazz, but I just want to give you the feel of what we're talking about, right? Okay, turn this around. You want? Turn this guy on. All right, now we got it. Okay, so if you're playing jazz, you use chords, like in rock and roll, your basic country Americana, if you're in heavy metal, right? In jazz, we take those same chords and we'll look at them like letters written in, or a tree painted in black and white. With jazz, you add notes on top of those chords that change the sound of the chord. Like your black and white painting has a little green outline and some leaves. So here is a regular chord. Here's a jazz version of that chord. Hear it? Here's a blues version of that chord. Okay, so you take jazz, and if this was basically academized, I don't know if that's a word, but the study of jazz actually came to fruition. Basically, a couple of top level African American jazz musicians locked themselves in a room and did the math. They were all classically trained. They were headlining events across America, but couldn't eat in the same restaurants as their white counterparts, had to sleep in flea bag hotels, and yet these geniuses got together in a room and came up with an explanation and a concept for what we call jazz music. And the kingpin of that is a very important man. His name was Dizzy Gillespie. Who's heard of Dizzy? Okay, Google him. Google Django Reinhardt, D-J-A-N-G-O, and Dizzy Gillespie. So, I'm gonna play you a jazz-sounding song. All of me, why not take all of me? But can't you see how I'm no good without you? Take my lips, I wanna lose them. Take my arms, I'll never Gypsy Jazz would take that same song and go like this. The right hand is different. It's called La Pompe in Gypsy Jazz. So now, and some of the chord structure is very similar to jazz, but it's also a little different. And Django loved American blues. So he's always inserting these, for you musicians, dominant 7 chords, and he puts them in kind of weird places. He loves a kind of blues influence, but he likes it hot, hot, hot. So now there are hundreds of Gypsy Jazz festivals around the world, whereas 10, 12 years ago there were like 20. It's on this huge resurgence. It's a mix of cultures. You get guys from Slovenia playing next to guys from Africa, playing next to guys from Haiti, playing next to guys from Minnesota. It's very, very cool. So I'm gonna play a jazz tune called Gitane. A lot of the songs in Gypsy Jazz are sung in French because that's where Django was. He was born in Belgium, but he was illegal in Belgium and illegal in France and lived illegally in France most of the time. I think he was still illegal when he died, as a matter of fact. So this is called Gitane. It's in French. I will wait for you. And I'll take a little solo so you can sort of get a feel for it. Je tendrai la jour et la nuit, je tendrai toujours ton retour. Je tendrai car l'ensemble qui s'enfuit vient chercher l'oubli dans son nid. Le temps passe et court en temps tristement dans mon corps singulier. Et pourtant je tendrai ton retour. La jour et la nuit, they like to sing like this. Ton retour, je tendrai, car l'ensemble qui s'enfuit vient chercher l'oubli dans son nid. Le temps passe et court en temps tristement dans mon corps si lourd. Et pourtant, je tendrai ton retour. Interesting, isn't it? And by the way, in America we wear berets. I'm wearing because it's rainy. Because we think they're cool and chic and very French, and they are. But berets, they wear them in France because they're the symbol of the laborers, the workers who had to work in the rain, but didn't want to have big hats on. So next time you see someone donning a beret or you want to wear a beret, it's very French, but it's working class French. So now what we're going to do is, how much time do we have?
That goes till 1:30, so we're at 12:40.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Any questions about Gypsy Jazz so far? Yes.
So, what did you say the guy's name was? It starts with a J.
Oh, it's so great. Django Reinhardt. And the
Django
pictures of
Reinhardt.
him, he's like this French dude. They're black and white. He's got a big mustache, smoking a cigarette. Very French, you know. I'll write his name on the board for you.
So when he was performing for Hitler, like
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
when Hitler died, like how did they were like happy about it?
Oh, are you kidding me? They were
Like,
dancing in the
obviously
street,
they
man.
were,
This
but
thing,
like,
the reason they did it, even though of course they were being persecuted by the bastards, excuse my French, no pun intended, is because that's how they stayed alive. They had two choices. You go to the gas chambers or you play for the Fuhrer.
okay, so that's how the situation was.
Crazy.
He's like, there were Nazis, were there?
Wow. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
Django, like Django and Chains. Now, see how cool the name is? You hear it all the time now. That's because of the resurgence.
No.
And it's our.
Don't take my black card. Please don't take my black card.
Okay, so a minute ago, we talked about improvisation. So when I was playing this song, Gitane, I took a guitar solo, right? So what was happening there? What was happening was, the band was playing, the band in my head, of course, or just me looping on the guitar, and I took my turn soloing over the top. For example, if we were to all sing Happy Birthday, right? That would be called the head of the tune. That's the part of the tune that everybody knows. Happy birthday to you, right? So the trumpet player plays that melody, and the drummer plays along, the bass, the piano, the guitar, maybe you got a singer, maybe you got a tuba player, who knows, right? Then one at a time, each musician takes a turn. It's like baseball. Everybody's in the outfield, they get up to the plate and they try to hit the ball. They try to solo play one note at a time and make it sound good while everyone else is going, happy birthday to you. Get it? So if I was to take a vocal solo over happy birthday, who knows what it's called when a singer takes their turn at the plate? Who knows what it's called when a singer does vocal improvisation? Louis Armstrong made up the word, and it has everything to do with bat guano. Scat. Who said that? Well done. Scat. So if I was to scat over happy birthday, you guys are going to sing happy birthday, and I'm going to scat over the top. Okay? Ready? Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Get it? So what most people, they're so intimidated by jazz because they don't understand what's happening. It's so easy. They're playing the same song over and over. And those darn trumpet players, man, they always take more turns than they're supposed to have. You can't get them to shut up half the time. Why? Because the rest of the band is playing the song while they take their turn. That's jazz. So, in order for me to explain to you how to do it, we're going to play a little game. Ball, please. Okay, so we'll need you to write some different signatures.
I'm sorry, so I always end up getting called on.
We need a volunteer.
Yes.
Leo volunteer.
Actually, no, I think you're going to be, I'm going to save you for later.
You get Leo.
Perfect. Come on down. All you got to do is write what's on the board.
She set herself up. She's like the only
Okay,
person at
this
the
is how
front.
this game is going to work. This is it. Used to balance. $3.95 on Amazon. Okay, this is how this game is going to work. I'm going to throw the ball. One person is going to catch it. Listen carefully. One person is going to catch it and say a one-syllable word. I don't care what it is. Ta, do, poo, sex. I don't care. One-syllable word. Right? You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
She's going to write it down. And then whoever has the ball tosses it to someone else. And we get another one-syllable word.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, you look right.
I don't care as long as I'm not the scat.
Okay, you ready? And we're going to do this over and over until we get a bunch of syllables in a row. Okay, we're just going to throw it. It doesn't work very well. Okay, pick a syllable and throw it to someone in the class. What is it?
What did you say?
But. Perfect. B, just one syllable. That's perfect. 2 T's on butt. That butt. That butt. Okay, who's got it? Throw it to someone in the class.
Some cash.
Someone and just throw it to anybody. Okay, what's your word?
Cat.
Cat?
Yes.
Yes. Cat. Butt cat so far. Right. write it nice and big. Right, can you write it across so everyone will be able to see it as we go? In fact, why don't you start right there? Yeah, next to the, after Django, and write it big and high. Okay, we got butt cat. I love butt cats. I love my cat, and I love her butt. Okay, another word. Tat. Tat. Ooh, this is gonna be groovy. Okay, chuck it.
Stop.
Stop. Okay.
Technically you.
Are you sure your word shouldn't be stuck? All right. Okay, you got a word.
Dog.
Dog.
Phone.
Okay, let's go dog. Okay, now we'll go from phone to one syllable words that aren't words. What?
Sounds?
One syllable words that have a consonant and a vowel. What? Yeah. That don't make any sense. Ta. Yeah. Okay.
Her.
Her. Aww.
Purr.
So nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I think we're done. All right,
making me
now
anxious.
this is what we're gonna do. Everybody is gonna say these words in a row. Excuse me. Okay, I'm gonna count to 4, and we're all gonna say the words. And try to get a hold of them and see if you can kind of get the feel of them. Because I'm gonna split the group in half, 2 in a minute, and then we're gonna get it, put it to music, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Butt, cat, tat, stop, dog, phone, top, purr. Again. Butt, cat, tat, stop, dog, phone, top, purr. Again. Butt, cat, tat, stop, dog, phone, top, purr. Okay. Now, you're gonna say the first 4, and you're gonna say the second 4 at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dog, phone, top, purr. Dog, phone, top, purr. Perfect. He's ready. Okay, now we're gonna put a little, make up some notes like bud, cat, tot, stop. Bud, cat, tops, taps, tat, stop, dog, phone, top, purr. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Bud, cat, tat, stop, dog, phone, top. Again. Bud, cat, tat, stop, dog, phone, top, purr. Good. You're gonna do it again by yourself, and I'm gonna say those words with a different melody. Something I don't even know what I'm gonna sing yet. It's gonna be a little crazy. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Bud, cat, stop, dog, phone, stop, dog, cat, phone, stop, dog, purr. Okay, we're gonna do it twice as
That threw
fast.
me off.
1, 2, 3, 4. Bud, cat, stop, dog, phone, stop, dog, cat, phone, stop, phone, stop. Who wants to try making a little melody over the top? Who's brave? Who's brave? Nobody's brave enough to just try a little melody over the top?
Come on, you can do it.
That's okay.
Wanna try?
What do you need?
What if you do what I just did? Make a little words and sing them.
Check the chair.
Bud, cat, top, top. Keep that on. Tap, stop. I need someone to go, bud, cat, just a different melody. Hey, you gotta volunteer. Come on down.
Oh.
She's great. She's a music major.
Right on.
Yeah.
You all better be nice, because some of you are coming up after her. Okay, ready? We're just gonna do our regular bug, cat, tap, stop, dog, phone, top, her. And you're just gonna make something up, just sing, go wild, live free. Okay.
With the same words, is she supposed to make it?
The gang is good. Actually, you can say whatever you want if you're feeling it. You can say those words, you can say other words.
Okay.
Okay, so we're the backup band. We're gonna sing the same
Why is her
happy
phone losing
birthday.
power so fast?
This is our happy birthday. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. One more time, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry. This time you're gonna go. Everybody do that? Okay, you guys do that. You guys do. You can say boots and cats if you've never done it.
Because I was like, this
Okay, who else wants to come down and try something a little different? You might as well volunteer because I'll kick your butt.
Get on the table.
Should I?
Why did you put me out?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll take one for the team.
Okay, now I'm gonna do something called 12 bar blues. Okay, so before we start, we're all gonna sing this over this. Right? With me? Butt, cat, oh wait, oh that's soft. No, I need more, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That was amazing.
And he is going to scat or improvise like a horn player, like a guitar player, like a bass player, like a trumpet player if we must, etc. You got this? You can sing that, you can make up syllables, you can go dooby doo, blah de blah.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, turn around, face your audience. Okay, 1,
He's like, I have to know what the words say.
3, 4.
This is so fun.
Yeah.
Don't walk the button, the cat and the cat is stopping the button.
Yes.
Don't walk, but the cat trying to see. Cat stopping me. Dog's gonna pick a walk. I want this dog to stop, but the cat stop. Dog gonna try to purr, but cat
Jazz melody.
Dog gonna have dog words.
Whoa! That was the best.
This is how hip hop started, y'all. They just started talking over those breaks. That's where it all began. not everybody could read music or play an instrument.
Yes.
They didn't need to, they spoke the keyword of this segment of your show, improv. That's what freestyling is. That's what jazz is. Jazz is freestyling on your instruments. Okay, who's next? Who wants to try
Microphone is
again?
about to go dead.
Don't make me piss you. Does
Send it
anybody
out to
actually sing? I know you, that was great.